Greetings, ArkanTalk members. I am here with former Senator Tracy Steele. He is running for North Little Rock Mayor. Mr. Steele, thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure.
Awesome, awesome. For those who don't know, can you tell the people a little bit about who is Tracy Steele?
Well, I'm a North Little Rock native. I've been here most of my life, other than going to college. I grew up not far from where we're recording here, a place called Shorter Garden.
Okay.
That sounds pretty, but it's government subsidized
Yes, sir.
housing, or in other words, a project.
Yes, sir.
But certainly don't feel sorry for me, because it was a wonderful place.
Yes, sir.
Had its challenges, but there were a lot of caring people who nurtured me. And that's where I got introduced to sports in that area, some great coaches, great educators. Grew up in a single parent household, but was able to, as I often say, bounce my way in basketball to a good education at Rice University.
Awesome.
Went to Rice, I majored in political science, came home for a short visit during the holiday after I graduated, thinking I'm gonna head back to Houston and grow up there where oil is plentiful and people hire Rice grads, at the drop of a hat.
Yes, sir.
But Jimmy, something happened. I went to a fundraising event, met a man named then Governor Bill Clinton, offered me a job. I've been here in Arkansas ever since.
Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna go off script right here. What was that first job?
First job was in his office. It was actually coordinator of a rural development program that he had, working with distressed counties in Arkansas, 11 of the most distressed counties in Arkansas. So I traveled the state. I met county judges and mayors, and very young man. I was about 24, mid-20s, and actually working for the governor at that age.
Awesome, awesome. So as a North Little Rock person, born and raised here, what's one of the biggest things that you've seen change over time?
Oh, definitely education. Education has really changed in many ways, and a lot of it's been through technology. And now we're able to do so many different things to help with the education process, to help our young people be ready to compete. Not only ready to compete in North Little Rock or Arkansas, but compete around the world. I think that's the biggest change that I've seen here. We have more opportunities than we've ever had.
Absolutely.
But our wonderful city is growing. Of course, we've had some growing pains as well. But we're doing quite well in North Little Rock.
Awesome, awesome. Next month, we will be celebrating Martin Luther King Day. And I know you spent some time with the Martin Luther King Commission. Can you tell us about your time as the executive director over there?
It was a great experience for me, being the first director of the Martin Luther King Commission. Had the opportunity to work with communities throughout the state. We actually were able to draft and lay out the programs of what the King Commission would be all about. I was given a piece of legislation and said, hey, go for it. I was appointed as director by then Governor Jim Tucker, formed the first board. We went out throughout the state during a very difficult time, because that was the same time, Jimmy, that came out with a video banging in Little Rock.
Oh, yeah.
So gang activity at that time was at its peak. We had challenges that this state had never had before, and we were in a position where we could actually go out and promote Dr. King's principles of nonviolence.
Absolutely.
So we went around the state, we worked with schools, we developed programs like the King Teams, which were positive groups of young people who were going out doing great things. We had junior commissioners, wonderful young people like yourselves, and so many people in this community were involved with that. Now these individuals are doing wonderful things. People like Colette Honorable and Maurice Rigsby, who's over at UAMS, and some of them have gone on to run for public office, but that was through our leadership program called the Junior Commission Program at the King Commission.
Awesome, awesome. And I know you spent almost a large chunk of your life in public service, not just King Commission, you're also a state senator. And there was a couple of more titles. Can you tell just briefly, like, if we were going to have a line of everything that you've done?
Well, when I first started out, my first office was state representative.
Okay.
Went to a meeting one evening. Had worked in the governor's office, but my mother, before she passed, had left me such a legacy of service.
Yes, sir.
I was in a small NAACP meeting, and there was a wonderful lady named Dr. Dee Bennett, the first African-American elected to the House of Representatives here. She announced at that meeting, there was about 7 people there, and she announced she was no longer going to run for office. And they said, well, we need somebody to run.
Absolutely.
We need somebody young to run. and I'm just sitting there taking notes.
Right.
And they said, what about him?
There we go. You're put on the spot.
I was put on the spot.
Yes, sir.
And I said, well, why not? And I ran for office and I ran for the House of Representatives and ended up serving 14 years in the Arkansas legislature,
Wow.
which was a great opportunity for me, not only to serve in the legislature, but to really work hard to learn the process and to try and impact public policy in a way that I felt that would make life better for the people in this community.
Absolutely.
And I was honored to actually be the lead sponsor of over 50 bills that are now the law of the land, and some pretty important bills like, you go into a restaurant now, you don't have smoking.
Yes, sir.
And that was, I led that charge through a special session, and it was actually then Governor Huckabee asked me to actually be the lead sponsor on that bill to eliminate smoking in public places.
Okay.
Other educational components, we put physical education back in the schools.
Yes, sir.
We had actually a tax on tobacco that actually launched several programs. We were able, because of the death of a wonderful young man at Parkview High School, we were able to put automatic external defibrillators in schools.
The basketball player. Yes, sir.
Yes,
I remember
Hobbs.
that. Yes, sir.
We put those in all schools throughout Arkansas, and they're actually have saved lives.
Yes, sir.
There have been not only athletes that have been saved by these defibrillators, but actually people in there watching the game, some elderly people, have been saved by these defibrillators. So it's been a wonderful experience, and probably one of my favorites is, it took me a while, but I worked 5 years to get the funding for the monument of the Little Rock Nine.
Yes, sir.
On the grounds of the state capitol.
Yes, sir.
And which makes Arkansas the only state in the nation, Jimmy, that has a monument on the Capitol grounds of civil rights leaders.
Awesome.
And those were the Little Rock Nine, meaning Georgia doesn't have one of Martin Luther King Jr.
Right.
Alabama does not have one of Rosa Parks. They should,
Yeah.
but it makes Arkansas pretty unique.
Absolutely.
So being in the legislature was a wonderful experience.
Yes, sir.
But probably one of my most important tasks is serving on the North Little Rock School Board.
Yes, sir.
Which is where I am right now. My son is a part of the school district, and I have so many relatives, nieces and nephews and cousins. It's the school district that I grew up in, and people came to me and said, "Hey, we have a vacancy here. Why don't you run?" And I had, of course, I'm a person of faith and pray about it, and I got the message that said run. I said, "Oh Lord, school board? Are you kidding?"
Yes, sir.
But it has turned out to be such a blessing for me,
Awesome.
because I learned about education in a way that I haven't before.
Yes, sir.
When you're in the legislature up there in those ivory towers, you really learn about education through public policy.
Absolutely.
But when you're on the school board,
It's a lot
it's
different.
kind of where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely.
And you know how important education really can be and how impactful it can be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another hot button topic, since we are here at Argenta Library right here in North Little Rock, around the corner from us, we have Innovation Hub, and even recently, back when I was in high school, it was Alltel Arena, and then it transitioned to Verizon. Now Simmons Bank is taking over. And if we go this way, we've got the Amazon Distribution Center. All of these things kind of building up the economic development in North Little Rock. What's kind of on your radar? What do you want to see brought here to kind of bring in more jobs and more dollars into this community?
That's a great question, Jimmy. I love the Innovation Hub and what they're all about. And the director there, Chris, is doing a wonderful job. He has a great vision for what he wants that organization to be.
Yes, sir.
I'm so proud it's in North Little Rock, because a lot of what we can do to move our city forward is going to come through technology. Technology mixed with education, we can do anything here in North Little Rock.
Yes, sir.
I am supportive of the economic development going on here in the city.
Yes, sir.
But we still have some challenges. With the plaza going up, I support that multi-million-dollar infrastructure that's going up. But you can actually go less than a mile and a half away from downtown over here to communities like Dark Hollow.
Yes, sir.
And communities like Dixie Edition. And you will actually be in communities where people's homes flood every time it rains.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I heard
So
about
we
that.
have some infrastructure issues that we need to pay a lot of attention to before this city can really reach its full potential.
I got you. I got you. And here's the last question. As everyone knows that you are running for mayor of North Little Rock, why Tracy Steele for mayor?
Well, I love North Little Rock. I spent most of my life helping and trying to give back to North Little Rock. I have a vision for this city to move this city forward. I think this city has tremendous potential. You know, I often say it's kind of small enough to get your arms around it,
Yes.
but it's also big enough to be a small metropolitan powerhouse. And not only North Little Rock, but I like to see from an economic standpoint, you know, us really stop really competing and knocking our heads against the wall
Right.
from our neighbors around us. You know, you talk about the best economic machine in Arkansas, people automatically say, hey, Northwest Arkansas.
Automatically.
But Jimmy, they don't say Fayetteville
Right.
or Rogers because they all work together.
Yes, sir.
And we have to kind of change our leadership strategy with changing of leadership
Right.
to work with our partners, work with Little Rock,
Yes, sir.
work with Maumelle and Cabot. Those cities all changed mayors over the last year.
Yes, sir.
And work with those cities so we can say Central Arkansas
Right.
is a great economic development
Absolutely.
opportunity for the state.
Absolutely. I know I said last question, but do you have time for one more?
Sure.
10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, what do you want the Tracy Steele legacy to be?
One of leadership, one of bringing this community together and improving race relations.
Yes, sir.
One of developing this school district, which in itself not only provides great education for our young people, but our school district is an economic machine.
Yes.
You know, last year in North Little Rock School District, we hired 80 new teachers.
Wow.
We have over 1,400 employees, and 30 of those 80 teachers have their first teaching job.
Wow.
Many of those individuals are going to move here, live here, raise their children here in North Little Rock. So the city has to support. In the past, it's kind of been all, that's the school district.
Mm-hmm.
Do what they do, that's their business, and we in the city are going to do what we do. If I have the opportunity to be mayor, that will not be the case.
Yes, sir.
We will be the biggest promoters, the biggest supporters of our school district, because I think that is how we're going to grow this city. Not just our school district, but education.
Yes, sir.
We have other schools in North Little Rock that need our support as well.
Yes, sir.
It's a critical issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm sure your mom would agree with me.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, Mr. Steele, thank you so much for coming on ArkanTalk. We greatly appreciate it. Everybody out there, look forward to Mr. Steele's interview. You can check our blog post down below. His social media links as well as his email address will be there. Mr. Steele, thank you again.
Thank you. Jimmy, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.